photo that's depicted there is of the blocks was recovered from one of the bags after the wrapping of that bag was removed.
General, we're going to get to other seizures as well. If you could maybe at this stage just explain to the commissioners the significance of the logos, so that W, or I think it is a W.
Commissioners, there's different logos that's being found on all these seizures. And the explanation for that is that it is the unique mark of certain individuals or a syndicate that's operating within the production space of the cocaine in, for instance, Colombia, that place their fingerprint or their identity to that brick of cocaine. That if there's in future a problem at the final destination, for instance, with the quality, it is clear from where that brick of cocaine is originating.
Because I'm sure they can't have their fingerprints on it and they can't exactly have a note that says, I'm the supplier.
Indeed, Commissioner, and that's why you will also find that there is perhaps multiple suppliers in one consignment that arrives in South Africa. And that's the reason why there will be multiple logos when such consignments are detected and seized.
Thank you, General. If we can go to photograph 4. If you can just describe what we're looking at now.
Commissioners, it's just another photo that depicts towards the bags of containing the cocaine in the back of the container. But I think what's also clear here is that it has handles. And the reason for that handles is to carry it easily. Because when criminals execute a rip-on-rip-off procedure, speed is of essence. You need to remove the exhibits with speed, obviously in the fear of being detected. And that's why it needs to be easy to carry these bags and place it in a vehicle or in a panel van, whatever mode of transport is being used, to then speed away with it undetected.
And then if I could just ask for you, them to zoom in on the orange item there, and if you could just explain the significance of that item.
Commissioners, this is, as I've explained, duplicate seals. So it shows you the criminal network is so sophisticated that they even make provision for a duplicate seal to be placed once the narcotics is removed from the container. So once they've removed the cocaine from the container, they just close the doors and seal it with the duplicate seal. And when SARS, Customs, or the port authorities verify the actual seals with the bill of lading and other documentary evidence or documents that they have in their possession, there will be no suspicion that there was any contraband in that container.
Ms. Sigel-Ncube, I see we are not marking these as exhibits, giving them exhibit numbers. You don't consider that necessary?
We will do so,
yes.
Chair, as soon as I'm done with all the photographs, then I'll just get the exhibit number as it is now.
All right.
And then I will then place it on the record, Chair.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just ask, arising from this picture, at your paragraph 22, you don't need to go there, General. You, at the end of that paragraph, you say that paragraph 22 on page 8, you say that the rip-off is normally done at destination. Here again, corrupt officials will break the seal, open the container, and I think that's what this photograph is speaking to. Is it necessarily just the officials who can do this, or is the harbour and that arrangement about which I know nothing, such that even private individuals who are part of this plan or scheme can do?
Indeed, Commissioners, that's why I indicated that corruption takes place within both the public and private space. So when we refer here to officials, it does not necessarily mean that it's government officials. It can also include officials working in the harbour or at the depots where these containers get opened and unpacked in some instances, or forwarded by means of road freight. So it goes for both sides.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Ms. Siba.
Thank you. I'm just going to go out of sequence just to show what a seal, an intact seal, looks like, so that the commissioners can see what the significance of the duplicate. If I could ask you to just go to photo 2 of the 22 June photos. That would be the seal that you're referring to.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And so that seal would be removed to gain access to the cocaine, and then the duplicate seal that's been left inside is then used to replace that. Would that duplicate seal have the same barcoding and numbering as the original seal?
Exactly the same, Commissioner. Then that's the mode for them not to be detected, because if the seal number differs, obviously when that container is opened, or before it's being opened, the final destination will detect that something went wrong and that the container was opened after it left the port of origin.
Thank you. Then if we can go back to your statement, I think we're on page 10, paragraph 26.
Before you go
Oh,
there,
my apologies.
sorry to keep going back, General. What became of this cocaine bust on 30 July 2021? You see, now I've become curious. I hope it didn't go missing as well.
Commissioner Khumalo, can I ask that the General explain its significance later when he gets to the 22 June?
The other one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a reason why he's referring to it, because it's so close in time. Thank you.
Sources. In many instances, since they are not classified as controlled substances in South Africa, the chemicals used to manufacture the drug are sourced through lawful supply chains, but are then diverted or misused for unlawful purposes. Controlled substances are also imported illegally or smuggled into South Africa. The most prevalent synthetic drugs in the country are methamphetamine, known as crystal meth or TIC, metacolone, known as Mandrax. Synthetic drugs are manufactured at what is referred to as clandestine drug laboratories, or CDLs. There are super labs and kitchen labs. Kitchen labs are found in businesses and residential areas, and the equipment used to manufacture the drugs are the readily available equipment such as stoves and other kitchen equipment or appliances.
Sorry, General, before you continue, can I just take you back to paragraph 28 and ask you about the controlled substances that are imported illegally?
Yeah, Commissioners, when it comes to methamphetamine, the controlled substance used there is ephedrine. You get plant-based ephedrine from the ephedra tree in Afghanistan, and then you get the chemicals. Obviously, that's man-made or laboratory-made, and that is then ephedrine as a liquid in a liquid form. And then the active ingredient of metacolone, of Mandrax, is metacolone.
And so why is this ephedrine imported or smuggled into South Africa?
It is because it's a controlled substance within South Africa, Commissioner, so you cannot go to any chemical shop and just procure it over the counter. If you need it, obviously there need to be a legitimate reason for that. So, for instance, you are in the medicine manufacturing space, and then obviously you will be able to procure such controlled substances. So it means that the only way to get it into the country is by means of either misrepresentations on the import documents or smuggling activities into South Africa.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Commissioners. On that photo is depicted the grand scale activities that was taking place on that farm in Groblersdal. What you observe there obviously is the extraction fans. That's the silver equipment that you observe there. Underneath that will be the reaction vessels. So that is where all these chemicals are poured into. It's mixed according to a specific recipe. And then it is placed obviously on top of a burner, a gas burner, and that is why you would see that there's a number of acetylene cylinders on that photo visible. I can see at least 2. And because obviously the reaction vessels need to be heated up over a period of time for the ingredients to come to the final product, which is then methamphetamine or crystal meth. So to depict more acetylene cylinders, it shows us the extent of the activities that was taking place there, and it also depicts towards an efficient supply chain of equipment. So in addition to the actual manufacturing of the methamphetamine, the individuals involved there was properly prepared in terms of their logistics and the infrastructure that they need to effectively continue with the manufacturing. Commissioners, what's important here is not to focus on the person. It's not one of the accused. It is within that bucket, the blue drum, you can clearly see the crystals, and that is the final product, the methamphetamine, after it went through all the processes as depicted in the previous photos. It's just more photos that directs towards the seizure from the crime scene, Commissioners. More evidence of the methamphetamine seized from that super lab, Commissioners.
Thank you, General. And you say it was 2 billion rand worth of
That-
methamphetamine that you refer to as crystal meth or TIC.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And the value of 2 billion rand, how does one get to that value?
Commissioners, there is international best practice within that space because this is transnational crimes in nature. So what we do is that experts within the space regularly also communicate to our counterparts across the globe. And that is how it is determined based on current market prices. What is the value when it is sold off into the markets and into communities.
Thank you, General. Then I interrupted you at paragraph
Maybe
32.
before that, if you could just go back to photo 1. Now, the equipment that is there, if it is not being used here for this kind of activities, is it easily obtainable? What is it ordinarily used for? And and maybe third part of it is it regulated? Who has access legally to this kind of equipment?
Yes, Commissioners, indeed. For instance, the extractor fans are industrially used in a number of industries. For instance, the mining industry. The reason why extractor fans are, for instance, placed there is that the cooks or the individuals involved in this process are not affected by the fumes that's generated by the reaction vessels. So the extractor fans, the burners, as well as the acetylene cylinders is readily available. What is not readily available necessarily is the reaction vessels, because it needs to be a specific vessel that's scientifically developed that will enhance the processes that's being followed by these criminals. So that vessels need to be either manufactured in South Africa or illegally imported with misrepresentations.
Manufactured in South Africa, is it, this is its sole purpose, or it does get manufactured and it is usable legally? I guess what I'm trying to ascertain is whether whether that can be stopped, whether there's, you know, any steps can be taken to make it illegal to manufacture that reaction vessel.
Commissioners, from my own knowledge, these reaction vessels are exclusively used for the illegal purposes. So I'm not aware of any prohibitions to manufacture it, but that's the exclusive use of that portion of the apparatus to get to the final product.
And are you, when I say are you, I mean the authorities, including the SAPS, aware of any manufacturers of these reaction units?
Not in South Africa, Commissioner,
Okay.
but abroad indeed.
Okay, thank you.